God bless you.
Hello, good evening. I'm Reverend Dr. Jeffrey Goodine, pastor of Church on Wheels Spoken Word out of Deltona, Florida. And this is a special edition of Bible Study 2025. We have a very special guest tonight. But before I get into that, we want to tell you that we appreciate you tuning in tonight to help share this special moment with us. But I also don't want to forget about Bible study, because this is a special edition of Bible study. For those of you that are on the airways, like us on YouTube, follow us at Pastor Jeffrey Goodine, subscribe and hit the bell to be notified. Like us on Facebook, follow us on our Facebook group page, Church on Wheels, Let the Good News Roll. On Facebook Live, Jeffrey Goodine. Twitter, which is formerly X, X, formerly Twitter, at Goodine Jeffrey, Instagram, Goodine Jeffrey, and Clubhouse, Church on Wheels Ministry. And as I say every week, send me an email at pastorjeffreygoodine@gmail.com. It's pastorjeffreygoodine@gmail.com. I will add you to the list, and you will get a copy of the handout so that you can follow along with us in Bible study. And again, I say I encourage that, because you can take this and start your own Bible study, and it's already done. So send me an email at pastorjeffreygoodine@gmail.com. It's pastorjeffreygoodine@gmail.com. I'll add you to the list, and you will get a copy of the handout so that you can follow along with us in Bible study. So you can tune in, invite a friend, have a watch party. Now, let's move that out the way. Now, we have a very special guest tonight. If you see in front of us, you see his book. We have the renowned author, David Schutz. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for taking time out your busy schedule to come be with us chickens.
Thank you very much.
Him and I have been friends for a very long time. We go a long way back. He is much, much older than I am, so if we go a long way back, that ought to give you an idea as to how old he is. Nonetheless, we are here because he had recently published a book on Amazon, and I got my copy. It's over there. I have been reading it. You can get it in from Amazon. It's called Joshua and Me. And we're going to talk about that book tonight. It's called Joshua and Me. If you go out to Amazon and you put in Joshua and Me in the book, and you will see this book. And I encourage you to pick this book up. Please do. Let's help him out. And you know what? You will have, what is it, New York something bestseller? What is it? New York Times bestseller. Listen, this is how they start. So I'm getting on the ground floor of this thing, because I know it's going to take off, and he's my friend. And I'd like to welcome you.
Thank you, sir.
To this.
Yeah.
You got something you want to say to the audience before I grill you?
Well, we have gone back a long way. Like Pastor Goodine said, I'm Reverend Dr. David Schutz, and it's an honor to be here. I made the first official announcement at this church about the book, and knew that I was finishing up, coming out. 5 years of working on it, got lazy on it, let it go for a while, pushed it back, tried to do some things before, and then God and my wife kicked me and said, you got to do this, let's finish this thing up. And we did, and has a lot of people working on this finished product. A lot of people helped me out, a lot of influences, but I thank Church on Wheels for inviting me here, and just such an honor to be here with this great pastor, his great church, and a man of God. So I look forward to tonight, and so hopefully the grill won't be too much cheese. And, and we'll go from there.
Let me get my book, because I made some highlights in the book. The first thing I want you to tell us about the book.
Okay.
Give us an overview of the book.
I remember everybody teaching about Zechariah. I came across in Zechariah this character named Joshua, and I first thought it was talking about the character in Exodus and Joshua, but this is a different Joshua, and this was a Joshua, a priest, who done a lot of work with his people, and now he is before the throne and he's walking. And he's getting criticized, ridiculed by the enemy, and things being thrown at him, and you don't deserve to be here. God, you can't take him in because he's too dirty, he's too sinful. He's got all of this stuff on him. You've got to lead him out. You got to give him to me. And I think that's so parallel with what we go through. And we don't understand and realize how much God is fighting for us. So Joshua could not say anything, did not say anything, and God, by his grace, mercy, and love, gave him a new robe that was dirty, gave him new shoes, gave him all the things that he needed that cleaned him up. So all of those scars, all of those wounds, all of the dirt is life being lived. That is life being lived. And so since we're going to get those, I thought maybe we can think about some things and how people can help them get through life being lived. You know, people go through trauma, people go through anxiety, people go through breakups in relationship, people go through a lot of things, people are in a lot of misery. So the reason I wrote this also is maybe there's a way that we can navigate life a lot better. Maybe there's some tools we can use with our spiritual. Christians get depressed too, y'all know that now. Christians get depressed, they get anxious, they get hurt, they go through stuff. Christians do. Don't think because you say that everything is rosy and nice. So maybe there's some tools in here that you can use to navigate from point A to point B, and then a point C and D and so forth as you live life. So that's the purpose. I hope that there's something in here that everybody can find useful for them when they get in a hard time, a rough time with relationship trauma, anxiety, depression, and just plain on, I don't feel good today. I don't want to get up out of bed. So that's the purpose of writing. That's kind of an overview of it, and I hope to dive into it some more right here so we can get a little bit more in that.
Well, good. Thank you for the book. Now, for those of y'all, I got my book as soon as it came out. As soon as I got the text message that it was out, I went out and I got the book because he mentioned here in the church that he was having a book published, and I said, buddy, old pal, friend of mine, do I get a signed copy? So tonight. In fact, he already sold one book tonight. Someone came by and got a book tonight in person. So if you get a chance to see him, you get the book. You know, he'll sign it for you. If you don't, you know, you make him sign it for you. You know, because I got mine, and if you notice, I have a bookmark in here. I've been reading it off and on because I know that this is him. And when I read the book, the part that I read, and I'm finishing up. I said, that's my friend, Pastor Shute. That's my friend. So let's get into this book, Pastor Shute.
Yes.
I got some. What made you come up with the title, Joshua and Me?
Because he's me. He is me. He represents things that you go through, things that I've been through, that's made me who I am. And you can see the cover there's one side of me that's just dirty and sinful, but by the grace of God, there's another side that God looks at me as. So Joshua is really me. personified. That's a word. It's personified.
Hey, it
I
is
think
tonight.
it's
It is
personified.
tonight.
He is me personified. And if you're humble enough and you're wise enough, you'll realize that that's you too. You'll realize that you're not all that, and you got some things. So, and it's just heartwarming to know that God still likes me, loves me.
Well, you know, in my reading it, you know, and under Joshua and me, I kind of saw, you know, I saw me in there in there too, you know, and I wanted to let you know that that when I read it, this is you. Mm-hmm. This is you. This is my friend. This is how he talks. Mm-hmm. And I know it is. Now I'm gonna look at the table of content, right. And I noticed there were some topics in here that you cover, like forgiveness and focus and love and relationships, marriage and conflicts and boundaries. You know, what made you come up with these chapters or these titles or these things to talk about?
These are things that I have had to go through for myself. As you said, there's a lot of me in here. There's a lot of things that I have to work on myself. There's a lot of things that people carry around that stops them from growing. And many of these have gotten in the way of myself and probably others too, if you read that, in growing, such as forgiveness, carrying things around forever. That's like a hook. Boy, that messes you up. Such as your choices. I think it's one of your greatest weapons that we have, tools we have, our ability to choose. Mm-hmm. Somebody takes that away, I don't know how much power you have, if you have any at all. If you can't choose, then your focus, wherever you focus determines where you go. Wherever your focus determines the direction you are. And there's illusions of control. I like that. Love and relationship, love my wife. Yes, love you. And marriage, conflict.
He had to put that in there.
And boundaries. Boundaries teach people how to treat you. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times people don't have boundaries. They don't enforce them. They don't realize them. They don't realize who they are. And boundaries is in the Bible about, you know, the fruit of the Spirit, and that's your character. So all of these, and I guess it kind of goes in sequence in terms of helping people go from point A to point B to point C.
Okay, good, because I was wondering, boy, these some heavy topics here, some heavy chapters, you know, and in me reading them, I realized that, you know, I understood. On the introduction, now I want you to turn to the introduction. Okay. And I want you to see this hymn in here. And I saw this hymn in here. Yeah. Okay. And we do sing this hymn, you know, in here every now and again. Yeah. You know. Is that your favorite hymn?
That's probably my favorite hymn. Because when nothing else would help, love lifted me, and you know, and having my, I just mentioned before we started my 3rd anniversary of having a kidney transplant. And I remember this song, and I put this in later. I remember that song in the bed, just getting ready to go. You know, love, when nothing else could help. Because so many times going through what I've gone through with 5 years of waiting on the list, I wanted to give up. I wanted to just say, forget this, I don't care anymore, but you know, I just love that song. When I was sinking deep in sin, you know, and all of us are. And so just, safe am I, love lifted me.
Okay, well, you know, one of my favorite hymn is Pass Me Not.
Yes,
you know, because, you know, we not, like you say, you know, we're not always in our best behavior.
No.
And so if he comes back, and he catches us not being in our best behavior.
Don't pass me by.
Please don't pass me by. Don't leave me behind. Don't leave me behind. Chapter 1, forgiveness. Now I know we talked about, you know, that's one of the things when we say it's easy to say but hard to do.
Yes.
And I think in here you made a good point about forgiveness, more so that, you know, it's not forgetting, you know, because, see, we think, we try to put forgiveness with forgetting, and we never forget.
No.
So we feel that we we can't forgive. So can you expound on that, why you went to forgiveness right at the beginning?
Yes, God says forgive so that you can be forgiven. And forgiveness stops you from being free. Unforgiveness, should I say, stops you from being free. Because forgiveness is not for the person who needs to be forgiven. Forgiveness is for the person who needs to forgive. So it blocks you. It blocks your ability to talk to God. It blocks your ability to talk to others. It blocks your ability to be close to somebody. It blocks your ability to live free. It helps you to sleep at night when you. Now forgiveness is not, and I think I put it in there. What forgiveness is not. It doesn't mean you forget. Doesn't mean you feel better right then when you do it. Doesn't mean you agree with what happened and you with it. Doesn't mean that you move on or get over it. I think that's the same thing as trying to forget about it when you try to move on. But what I know and believe forgiveness, biblically speaking, is forgiveness is a decision made that I won't treat you like you just did that to me. It's not a feeling. It's a decision made that I won't treat you like you just. God did that with Peter. Denied him 3 times. 3 times says, do you love me? Feed my lamb. Do you love me? The purpose of forgiveness is to restore the relationship that was lost. That's what Jesus did with Peter, restore that which was lost. Because Peter thought, man, I'm gone. I can't go and be this rock that God told me I was going to be. Mm-hmm. And so forgiveness is different, should I say, than saying I'm sorry or I apologize. Saying I'm sorry, I apologize is an admission I was wrong. But forgiveness is an admission that I hurt you or I was hurt by you. So that's why it keeps us from being in a good relationship, in a good place with God. And forgiveness is not fair, it's not earned, it's not deserved, freely given. Doesn't mean you forget now. You better remember that person who came in your house and did something to you and stole. You're not going to forget that. But you don't have to treat them like they just did that. So that's powerful to me.
Okay. That is good because, you know, in the Bible it says that we are to forgive 7 times 70, you know, and, you know, that's 490 times, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, you know, listen, let me tell y'all something right now. I always say, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Right. You not getting a 3rd chance. Right. Okay? Right. So that's why I say with forgiveness, and that's why I said, man, he picked right off for forgiveness. And then I went to that, and I said the Bible saying that we got to forgive to start now. Yeah. That's 490 times, 7 times 70. That's 490 times. Mm-hmm. And then you start over. Right. You know, so good. I like that, Pastor Shute. I enjoy it. Now you did talk about choices. You mentioned choices before, and chapter 2 is the choices. Yeah. Now, you know that, and you said in chapter 2, you say, let's just say that our greatest ability, weapon or tool, is the ability to choose. Right. Can you expound on that a little bit more for us tonight?
God sets us free. And we think freedom is doing what we want to do. That's what the world thinks. I'm free, I can do whatever I want to do. Well, we know that's not freedom. That's immaturity. No, that's not freedom. Freedom is doing what we're supposed to do. And what we're supposed to do is choose righteousness. God, throughout the Bible, tells us to choose. Even Joshua said, choose in the Exodus, choose ye this day who you will serve. As for me and my house, I choose to serve God. So this is about a choice, and people would like to take away that choice so that you can fall underneath what they want you to do. People want you to do what, fall under them so they can control you. The enemy wants to control you. Other people want to control you. Sometimes spouses want to control each other. So they take away that. So liberty in relationships is your choice. You got to choose that. And when you can, the more choices you have, the more powerful you are. Now, you don't want to have too many. You know, that's like having, I don't like black licorice. Yeah, you can take that out. And there's certain Jolly Ranchers I don't like. That old blue one. Man, I hate that blue one. But I get to choose that though.
Mm-hmm.
I get to choose that though. So now I can choose the best one, which is the green apple.
Do you think we make choices? Because you wrote in here, and you know, I highlighted because I was grilling you.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, he's sitting in the hot seat tonight. Okay, he's my friend, but I put him in the hot seat tonight. You wrote, we don't live a life based on what we think. We live a life based on what we believe.
Right.
Now, I want you to expound on that one. You know, see if we're on the same concept, because sometimes I think what we believe, just like in here in Joshua, sometimes what we believe makes us dirty.
Mm-hmm.
What we believe.
That's right.
And so can you expound on that a little bit?
If somebody grew up and mama or daddy were telling them, you no good, you're not going to make it, you're dumb, you're stupid, that's how they're going to leave, because it's been instilled in them to believe that. So that becomes what they do. That's their character. You know, I can't do anything right. Somebody's been traumatized. I'm not good enough. I'm small. I'm insignificant. They start living life based on that. And that's a belief. That's not just thinking that. You get so far into that, Pastor, that you don't even have to think it. You just start doing it. You just start living that way because that's the belief. Now, life experiences taught them that. But we have a belief system as saints of God called the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace. That's our character that we should live by. We also have moral character, which is I'm courageous, I am strong, I'm determined, I am loving, I am caring. You know, I am all of these. And so when we live life and we make decisions based on that belief system, because that's us all day long, isn't it? Trustworthy, honest. That's us all day long. So when we don't make that choice, guess why we feel bad? We feel, man, I messed up. That's because we violated what we believe. So that belief is so very important. So that's how you live life. You make choices. When you make choices based on those beliefs, you stand up, you're strong. You know, you feel bad and go hide somewhere when you stole something, that Snickers bar, and you know you're supposed to do that. You went against your character. But if you have some bad beliefs that are lies, man, we can do a whole lot on that. Because those negative beliefs are really lies. I'm not good enough. I can't get it right. It's my fault. Those are lies that life events may have taught you that. The reason you know it's a lie is because when you think about it and live that way, it causes chaos. And anytime you have chaos inside, it's because a lie is floating around somewhere. So that's why I say you live life based on what you believe. Because you can think a lot of things. You know, I used to think that you were, well, anyway, I won't say that. But, you know, you can think a lot of things, but you can choose.
You sure don't want me to tell you what I'm thinking. But,
So, yeah.
But, I reading the book, and you notice, you see my highlights.
I see them.
Because I was, I said I'm gonna grill him. When, in the book, why is it that you said on page 18, you said none of us escaped life unscathed?
Yeah.
Now is that the based on us being dirty and then being clean, and we were scathed by being dirty?
Our character causes us to make bad choices, doesn't it? And when we make bad choices, we get wounded. We get scars. You know, Mama told us not to go out there and run out, and we do, and we get them scar our knee, and then we come back crying. And sometimes we make choices like Jonah did. He was scarred. Abraham did the same thing. She's not my wife. She's my sister. So we all make those mistakes. we all don't live according to what God says or what our character says. So just living life, we have to go through those things to get better. We have to have those scars to get better. We have to fall down to get stronger. And some people try to avoid that. And when they avoid it, they get into a deeper hole. Because when you avoid it, you're not smart. You don't make good choices because you're trying to avoid something that's inevitable. I walk outside and it's raining, I can't avoid raindrops. But if I try to run through and avoid raindrops, that's crazy. That doesn't sound right. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get wet sometimes just because of living life.
Okay, I understand that. I understand that. Now, let's get into, and I really wanted to ask you this.
Excuse me.
I really wanted, in chapter 4,
yes.
Where we say illusion of control.
Yeah.
Now, how is it? No, what is the illusion of control?
So, we try to control things we were never meant to. We try to control people, and we try to control events, and we can't control either. But when we try to control them, something is born. It's called stress. Stress is an attempt to control something you can't or was never meant to. And so, but we go around believing we have control. We try to control people. We try to control all these other things in our life. And we think we do have control, but we don't. So now we have to find other things to give us what we think is control. Drugs, alcohol. And that just takes us out of reality. So when we take ourselves out of reality, we realize, or don't realize, should I say, we don't have control. I mean, sometimes we think we can call a Hollywood star and we can have them on the phone. We can't do that. First of all, they're not going to answer the phone. And second of all, they're not as good as what we think they are.
You put emotions in here. Now, I want you to explain, to us how emotions fit into an illusion of control.
So, our emotions was never created to be our decision maker. Never. Our emotions does not tell us what's true. Our brain was created to know those things. Our emotions can lead us down a bad path. Our emotion can give us a sense that we have some kind of control because I'm feeling good. So as long as I'm feeling good, I'm good. But when I'm feeling bad, that's not really a thing, feeling bad, that's not really a feeling. But if I'm feeling bad, then I try to do something to start feeling good. So now what's happening? Our emotions are telling us what to do. It's dictating, I got to feel good, so let me go do some things to feel good because life is about feeling good. But we know that life is about, navigating the good, the bad, the ugly, the not so ugly, the in between, the outside, the inside, the up, the down. It's about all of those things. But if we use our emotions to navigate that, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Sinking sand. So our emotions was created to experience life. Somebody tell a joke, you laugh. Mm-hmm. You're experiencing life with that. You go on a trip, y'all have fun. You're experiencing life. So emotions were meant to help us to experience life by, to be happy, to laugh.
Okay. I understand, that we can be, we can be emotional.
Yes.
And sometimes emotion gets in the way of us doing things, as I say. We work from an emotional standpoint instead of from a reasoning standpoint. And I notice that sometimes gets us in trouble. And because we look at follow our emotions, And you're right, they are, our emotions.
And if I could add to that, even Christians use emotions to tell them when to read the Bible or to not. I don't feel like it. This morning I was doing my daily devotion, and I really didn't want to. I wasn't feeling it, as they say. But I stayed there. I stayed there, and it was Psalm 62. And boy, did it hit my heart that it talks about all power belongs to God. All power belongs to God. That thing hit me. All power belongs to God. So our emotion, if I had let my emotion take it, I would have missed that nugget.
Mm-hmm. Because, they and I don't know if it's true or not, but, people always think that the pastor is always feel like doing it. I'm just saying, sometimes, you just don't feel like it until something hits, until he says, okay, it's time for you to get this nugget. Mm-hmm. And then then it looks like we have all of the energy and we want to do it, but a lot of times, I'm just saying, a lot of times driving to church, I kind of don't, get up, don't feel like it, this morning and things. But, and if I work through that, then I find that when I work through that, then he's got something good.
Yeah, that's what you find it.
He got something good for you. That you go and somebody got a nice word for you, and you see somebody and it just brightens your day. And that's good. Thank you, Pastor Jude. Okay, I'm going to grill you some more. Okay. Interpretive language. You said in your book, you mentioned interpretive language.
Yeah.
Explain that to us. Why did you? What is your concept of interpretive language, as you put it in the book?
So think about a husband who tells his wife, I'm going to go to play basketball, and I'll be gone for a couple hours. Now, if they had a little disagreement before that, or she's feeling a little toasty, she might say, what, you don't want to be around me anymore? Now, the only way for you to say that is for you to interpret something based on what you think about yourself. So, or you think that person might be doing it. So I can't use what's reality. I have to interpret what's happening, because I may be mad at them. I may be mad at God, so I'm going to interpret, God, you don't care about me anymore. So I have to interpret that based on what I have gone through. I have to interpret that based on what I see. So now the truth is not there. I'm just interpreting something because either I'm mad, either I'm upset, either I'm just depressed. And so now I'm interpreting everything as not safe, I'm not enough, or nobody would care about me, I'm going to be abandoned. We do those things. Sometimes when we believe, and we can interpret things that God does to us as God doesn't care about us, God doesn't want us. And so, but we have to interpret that. We can't use what the truth is. We have to interpret that. And our emotions will tell us to do that sometimes. Our emotions, and I'm feeling a little toasty, that means something. It's always be you meant. Mm-hmm. Not what you said you meant. So that can be interpretive language. If and then language, that can be interpretive language. Why is this interpretive language? So it doesn't talk about reality. It talks about things that's not there. And so we have to interpret it to make us feel whatever we're believing about us. If like we said, we're not good enough or we don't get it right, then everything's going to come through that lens. See, I didn't get it right again. See, I messed up again.
But from that perspective, there's our interpretive language that you say. Does that have anything to do with the choices we make?
Yes. Because the way we interpret things helps us, as the next chapter talks about, with our focus.
I was getting in order.
Yeah. See, when look, everybody goes through life experiences, don't we? And the life experiences is what kind of colors us, shades us. there's a guy named Bandura, and he's a theorist. And one of the theories he has is called social learning. And he says that our makeup is based on how we grew up. We take things and they're attached to us how we grew up. So that's the lens by which we live life and how we look at life. That's the lens. You know, I was talking to somebody today. They, just like me, grew up in the deep country, real deep, you know, country. You know, picked a little bit of cotton, lived off the land, grew some sugar cane and made their own syrup, made, you know, canned things, all of those things, just similar. And so that's how they look at life and they interpret life. I just want it slow. I just want it easy. I just want it that way. So our interpretation, if somebody was molested, somebody was abandoned, you know, mama left you somewhere and then you didn't get, the boy recently who was killed because he was punished by weights, and all these things can shade how we look at life, and that's how we interpret life based on that lens, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right. Mind reading.
Oh gosh, yes.
Mind reading.
Yes.
You really gonna have to. I mean, I kind of understand a little bit, you know, what you're saying here, but I want you to explain to the people that are listening or that are tuning in on the airwaves, why mind reading? Why'd you put that in the book?
Well, mind reading is what we call a cognitive distortion. So,
all right, you got to break that down.
So a cognitive distortion. Think about this. Think about going to a fair, and you go to the fair. They have that mirror, and that mirror makes your head look real big, and make your neck look like it's real long, and all of this stuff. And all of a sudden, you've lost a lot of weight when you look at that thing, or you've gained a lot of weight, one or the other. So the distortion is it's taking a piece of the truth and it's distorted it. So that means it's taking a little bit of it, such as the mind reading. Mind reading is talking about, I know what you're thinking. I don't need to, you know, I don't need to talk or communicate. I know exactly what you're thinking. I know exactly what you mean, and you could be wrong. Most times, that's a distortion. That's a distortion. That I know what you're thinking. Half the time, I don't know what I'm thinking. And you telling me what I'm thinking, please help me out. If you know what I'm thinking, please help me out. And if you can mind read, I tell people, quit your job, get a 1-900 number, and then you got a job for life. But if you can read minds. But that is done to protect you, so you have a sense of control. If I can read your mind, I got a sense of control. And that's why people don't always like to be with God, because they want to control Him. They want God. They want to read God. They want to predict all that. They want to know what's going to happen before it happens, and they want to try to control it. So mind reading is not good. When you're tempted, sometimes you can believe that you'll never make it. You can't get through that. But also we try to mind read other people and try to control them.
Okay.
Like a joystick.
All right. Okay. I see how we put that in there. Now, you know, here we go again. Mm-hmm. You see the highlight in my book.
Yeah.
When I invited him in, I didn't tell him he was going to be sitting in the hot seat.
No.
I didn't tell him that, and I didn't tell him I was going to grill him on his book. But in here, you when we talked about, you know, redirecting the present in your book, and you said that the true criteria for an event being traumatic.
Yes.
The event is uncontrollable.
Oh, yeah.
The event is unexpected. So can you expound on that for us, please?
Yes. Trauma. Everybody goes to a level of trauma. Mama passing away, daddy passing away, uncle, being in a near collision in a car, being in a car accident, motorcycle accident, whatever it is. We go through trauma. doesn't always lead to something that interferes with how you live, though. But there's some traumas that interfere how you live. Somebody being raped, 9/11, being T-boned in the intersection. All of those are unexpected, uncontrollable. Couldn't do anything about it. It came out of nowhere. And so the problem is with that is when we look back over it, we think we could have. We think we could have. But we could not have. But to make that traumatic, if I see it coming and I can take care of it, it's not traumatic because now I can move, I can make a different choice if I can see it coming. If they saw those planes, knew those planes were coming before, then they could get out of there. But it was unexpected. It was uncontrollable. You can't control it. And that's the biggest problem with trauma is that, I say problem with it or the symptoms of it is this. Now you're expecting it to happen again. And over it again. Because it come out of nowhere. And you thought you don't have the power or the tools to do anything about it. And sometimes Christians, it's a double whammy for Christians when they go through trauma. Because they think God is supposed to take care of everything. I'm not supposed to go through that. I'm not supposed to be having these nightmares. I'm not supposed to be having these things. God, you're supposed to take care of it. But we do go through those things. And it's kind of a double whammy for Christians sometimes because they think God's supposed to just wipe it away, no memory of it, and we're supposed to be good. But we still have those things that we have to live with.
Now, in your book, in Joshua and Me, and we know that God, cleaned him up, but did he still remember that after we get cleaned up, in essence? Do we still remember those traumatic events?
Yeah.
And do they play a part in our life forward?
Yeah. It's not so much what happened in terms of the trauma, because it's already happened. Probably never to happen again. The event itself. Probably never to happen again. So it's not so much the trauma of what happened. Granted, it is bad. It's horrible. But that's not the biggest thing. The biggest thing is what it did to you. It causes this to be off kilter. The prefrontal cortex, that's part of your brain, that's called your thinking brain. Now it's ruminating. It's ruminating. Then you got something called, a big old word that I learned the other day, called the amygdala, which is like your emotional brain. Guess what's one in charge? Your emotional brain. Your emotional brain is all telling you things going to happen, you're not safe, all of these things going to happen. I can't go through that intersection again if I had an accident, or a hospital's bad because mama died in there and I saw mama die and all these things. So no, you don't forget it, but you can learn how to manage it.
Okay, good. I kind of get it. Now, we're not going to be here too much long. I don't want to take too much time out your busy schedule,
okay.
Because I know you are a busy man, but I got one last thing I want to touch on, and it's in love and relationships. So you know I was going there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was going there. All right, and you all know I was going there too. Okay, because he is a counselor. On page 38 in your book, you said the key to learn how to love each other in a way that is focused, intentional, and enthusiastic, so as to cause the other person to be convinced that they are cherished, valuable, and cared about. So, what is this learn?
Our society has defined a marriage as two people trying to coexist, trying to get along. Never is that a good definition for a marriage. Marriage is two people learning, underline, bold, italicized, learning how to connect with each other. It is in that connection, only in that connection, you will find love, joy, peace, security. When we follow God and do and love Him by keeping His commandments, we are learning to do that. every day. That's why we can't just read the Bible once and be done. We're learning how to love God. We're learning how to be obedient. We're learning that. You know, there's people that we're going to meet at first that we don't like. But God said love. Man, I got to love this one. So you got to learn how to follow what God said. Learn. So learning how to love God. Nobody loves God because the Bible even says that. You know, no one follows him. No one seeks after righteousness. No, not one. Nobody does. And to love him, you have to follow after him. You have to seek him. So to love my spouse, it has to be intentional. It has to be focused. It has to have a lot of energy. That's always the cross. Intentional, focus, lots of energy. The cross, intentional, focus, lots of energy. Jesus loved us that way. And so that's how we should love our mate, love our spouse, to learn. There's things that I'm doing right now that I did not do when I was 25. I'm growing. There's things my wife did, and she's great, by the way. There's things that my wife did that she didn't do 10 years ago that she likes. I have to learn that. We're changing. We're growing. God doesn't change, but God is so vast and big. It takes more than one lifetime to even learn a piece of God. But when we see something about Him, man, that brings some joy. That brings some peace, some comfort. So that's the excitement about a relationship, is to learn. It's not getting there. Sometimes you get on it to a destination, and then you look around and you go in the hotel room, well, we're here. But it's that destination getting there. You know, look at this traffic, man. And then we're talking about something and we see that, hey, look at that tree. Let's go in and see that tree. Or whatever it might be. You know, so we go and explore together. And the journey is great. Now, I'm not talking about heaven. When we get to heaven, it's going to be great, outstanding. But for us here on this planet, that's the joy of learning. Put yourself in a place where you can learn. God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. If you are prideful, you can't learn. But if you have humility, you are the best learner. Mary and Martha. Mary and Martha.